And we're live. Hello, all, and welcome. And I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Show. La la la. So, how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well, whatever. I'm doing all right. A little tired, but that's to be expected when you're very busy. And yes, I have been very busy. In addition to real life concerns, I have also been making a lot of new content for the show. I've spent this past weekend just editing and making new videos and posting new videos to YouTube. One every 4 hours, in fact. They have a way you can schedule the release, but it's a pain in the ass because my upload speed sucks. It sucks. So it takes me a long fucking time. Not literal forever, but a long fucking time. Not to mention, it's not so easy making the new videos either. I have to go through all my old content, and it's, oh God, it's a pain. Pain. But I got a lot done. I got a lot more to do, though. But I have an announcement to make. We made it over 200 subscribers, finally. Whoop-de-fucking-do, yeah. How long that's going to last, I don't know. Nobody knows what could happen. Channel could be gone tomorrow with all this adpocalypse crap with gay wonks running around. Mexican gay wonks with lisps, who you're not allowed to say have lisps and are Mexican or whatever the hell he is. Who knows what's going to happen? So I suggest those of you out there who like my content, you need to follow me on other platforms. Number one, I'm on BitChute, which actually has a bigger following than I do on YouTube, believe it or not. But I've had that channel for years, so that explains most of that. So go follow me on BitChute. All right, the link is in the description. And also follow me on D Live, streaming platform, more interactive, actual ability to make direct donations during the live stream so you can chat with me directly. YouTube doesn't have that capability, though I might do a once a week live stream where I interact with you, my fans, once enough people find out where I am, subscribe, and watch on a regular basis. And then you can donate via Tippy Stream in a similar way to YouTube's Super Chat, and then I would reply to your Super Chats, well, your Tippy Stream donations. Works in a similar way. I have a little app in my live stream. A little banana pops up, says you made a donation. So, and then I would reply to your questions and comments, which would be included in the Tippy Stream donation. It's just like a Super Chat, except there's no button. There would be an external link in the description or something. Not as convenient as Super Chat, I realize that. But I keep much more of the split. I think they get like 2 or 5% or something as opposed to YouTube's 30, so it's a lot better. Also, follow me on Facebook, Twitter. I mean, I'm on a lot of different platforms. I also have my live stream on SoundCloud, which I spent also a lot of time. I had to download a lot of back episodes because I was so busy doing other things, so I downloaded like 8 or 9. So I'm caught up on SoundCloud. So for those of you who listen to my live stream on SoundCloud, it's all caught up. Oh, God. So for the foreseeable future, there's going to be, 6 videos released a day until I'm all caught up. And then it'll probably be something like 2 or 3 or something like that, depending. We'll see. Anyway, what's going on in the world? Well, a lot of kooky shit. Some of it political, some of it in the realm of social retardedness. So let's see here. Let's see. Oh, boy. Oh, God. Yes, my alma mater, my home. Not anymore, but it's where I come from. Of America has gone fucking all out loony. Senate Democrats say to Americans, you have an obligation to give amnesty to foreigners. Really? How about the whole fucking world? What do we got, 7.5 billion? Why don't we just make everybody a fucking American citizen? That's essentially what they're saying. We'll make the Chinese and the North Koreans and the Vietnamese, we'll make them all Americans. Yeah, because we have an obligation to all these people that aren't Americans to make them Americans, right? Don't know how we're going to pay for all of them, but hey, we'll sort that out after, right? After Dianne Feinstein and Crazy Maxine are dead and buried, right? They won't fucking care. They'll be gone. They got theirs. A group of Senate Democrats say American citizens have an obligation to give amnesty to potentially millions of foreign nationals living in the United States who they say have earned the right to be in the country. How? How did they earn the right? I don't understand. You got this stupid language where essentially they just make these outrageous claims to try and justify their move to give these people some kind of amnesty and automatically make them citizens. I mean, isn't that a slap in the face to all the people who have legally gotten into the country? Like a guy named Mahmoud who got into the country legally, spent 10 years working his ass off to start a small business and save the money required to bring his family over. And didn't see him for 10 years because he couldn't leave the country for 10 years because he's waiting to become an American citizen legally. And he didn't realize all he had to do was fly to Mexico and cross the border. And he could do all that. Snap of a finger. No having to start a business. No having to be productive. No having to produce something, be of some kind of service to others, to contribute to society in any way, to not see his family for 10 years. Nah, just cross the border illegally. I did everything right. I did everything right. I spent tons and tons of money. I started a business. Now I'm fucked in the ass by these illegal aliens. They didn't do nothing. Literally did nothing. In fact, they took a bunch of welfare. He's never taken a bit of welfare in his whole life, and yet he's slapped in the fucking face. Oh, yeah. Don't do things the right way, people. No, we want the lazy scum from south of the border who are more likely to vote Democrat. After House Democrats and 7 House Republicans, they're not Republicans. These are what we call rhinos. They are Democrats who masquerade as Republicans to get elected in Republican districts, okay? And then they vote left, like John McCain, who was not a fucking Republican, passed an expansive amnesty to any illegal alien claiming to have arrived in the U.S. as a child. What the fuck does it matter? Oh, it's not my fault. I'm in the U.S., somebody brought me here. Okay, well, then we'll ship you back to Mexico and you can live in an orphanage or in their wonderful foster care system. I'm sure it's great. Everybody's talking about how great these Mexicans are. About how much they'll improve our country. Well, if they're so great, then the country they come from must be fucking awesome. So what's the problem with sending them back? But oh no, let's reward the illegality, the illegal actions of their parents. Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, and of course, but we can't have them alone, so we have to make their parents citizens as well. So Senate Democrats are now demanding the Senate do the same. First the House, which is controlled by the Democrats, and now they want the Senate to pass it. Boy, oh boy, if this gets past the Senate, which is actually controlled by Republicans, supposedly, Trump better veto this fucker. Senator Dianne Feinstein, that scumbag old looking crypt keeper bitch who grilled poor Kavanaugh. She's the one that leaked that information about Blasey Ford, the liar, who made $1 million off this bullshit. Dianne Feinstein, Chris Van Hollen, Ben Cardin, and Tim Kaine are urging the GOP-controlled Senate to pass their amnesty bill, which gives nearly 500,000 foreign nationals living in the U.S. on temporary protected status a pathway to American citizenship. If they get this, it's game over. It's game over. Fuck a wall. It won't matter. There'll be so many of these illegal aliens in America who now have a right to vote that you'll never get a Republican voted in again. Never, ever, 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 ever. And then the Republic will die. Cardin said in a statement that Americans are obligated. Why? Did I say, I promise you I will do this? Did I enter into some kind of fucking willing contract with these people to give them, to vote for them becoming citizens? No, I have no obligation. Let me tell you something about obligation, all right? You have none that you haven't entered into voluntarily. Unless at some point You signed a contract or made an agreement, made a handshake, something where you said, okay, I will do this. You have no obligation. You have no obligation whatsoever to give foreign nationals permanent legal residency. Oh, I see what? He's a leftist cunt. He believes that he's entitled to whatever the fuck he wants. You have a pulse. I have a pulse. We have entitlement. You're obligated to give us whatever the fuck we want. I want a Lamborghini, bitch. You gonna give me a fucking Lamborghini, you motherfucker? No. What about my obligation, bitch? I have a pulse, so I should get what I want. But you're not brown enough. Oh, and you're gonna vote Republican. I see. Yeah, I have to give them permanent legal residency and eventually U.S. citizenship via an amnesty. Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You motherfuckers did this same song and dance back when Reagan was president. Oh, yeah, make them citizens, Reagan. Yeah, then we'll pass all these other protections that you want passed and all these other laws and bills. Just give us what we want and we'll give you what you want. They didn't. There was no reciprocation. Stupid-ass Reagan signed the amnesty, and he didn't get anything he wanted. What a dummy. What an old fuck. He must have been coming down with dementia at that time. Ay. So these individuals have lived lawfully. No, they haven't. What is this? They've lived lawfully and worked in the U.S. as our neighbors. No, they haven't. Just by working, they're breaking the law. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they're here illegally. So they haven't lived here lawfully, and they haven't worked here lawfully. As our neighbors, the fuck do I care? What do you think? We're living and leave it to fucking Beaverland where I know my neighbor and I walk over and give them a fucking casserole and they come and borrow sugar from me or I give them sugar? Where do you think we're living? As they sought refuge in the U.S. Who cares? Refuge? They're not refugees applying to refugees. 99% of these people are not refugees. Is there a war in Mexico I haven't heard about? We have an obligation. No, we don't. He keeps using the same language again and again and again. This is a far left, Frankfurt School critical theory move where you just keep repeating the same lie, okay, the same talking point that you want people to accept, all right, until they accept it. We have an obligation to take action and give needed predictability and safety to people who are in an uncertain status. Listen to all this gobbledygook complex language, okay? They overcomplicate what's a very simple proposition so that you don't see the nonsense involved, so that you just can't very easily grasp what they're trying to say. So what he's saying is, you owe brown people a living, and you owe them a life where they know they're going to get food and have a house. And you owe them predictability, meaning they need certainty that they're going to have a place to live, place to hang their hat, and free food. What? Fuck you! We need to stand up for the American values of compassion and diversity. Okay, first of all, compassion's not an American value, all right? Nor is diversity, okay? Not for non-Americans, okay? Now, diversity, where was that in the Constitution? Was that in the Declaration of Independence? Diversity, what a bunch of crap, made-up word. Diversity is not our strength, okay? Diversity is a weakness. It comes from the word divide, okay? Divide and conquer. Divisive, all right? These words all have a root, the same root, okay? Diversity is divisive. Diversity divides. It's not a strength. They've made this country stronger. No evidence. That's just my belief. That's my personal belief. Yeah, well, you're wrong. You're wrong. Look around, buddy. We're more divided than ever. But of course, you're calling for division. I don't want to use the word division, even though that's our goal. We want to divide people so we can conquer them and rule over them as their overlords. But, dividing doesn't have a positive spin. What other word can we come up with that sounds better? How about diversity? Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. Feinstein said the 440,000 foreign nationals who would receive the amnesty have earned the right to permanently stay. Earned it how? What have they done? Haven't killed anybody? Which we don't know, by the way. How about that one guy that killed that poor white girl? And then he claimed he was shooting at seals. I found a gun under a bench. I was shooting at seals. I was having a schizophrenic episode. I thought she was a seal. No jail time. They let him off. Sent him back to Mexico. And, of course, he came back for the 12th time illegally. The Senate needs to follow the House's lead. No, we don't. And pass these important protections. Why are they important? For immigrant families. Why? Why are they important? They're not immigrants. They keep using these words to try to legitimize these people. Immigrant is somebody who legally comes somewhere, immigrates somewhere legally. These are illegal alien invaders, okay? Who have been living and working in the United States for decades. Yeah, living and working illegally, using somebody else's fucking social security number. That's illegal. We don't care if they break the law, though. After fleeing wars and natural disasters, these families have established deep roots in our communities and earned the right to remain together here in the United States. How have they earned the right? I'm going to have a conniption fit here. The first conniption fit ever, and I'm going to have it live on air. Jesus Christ. Okay, so fleeing a war doesn't entitle you to anything, all right? Natural disasters. Oh, a mudslide destroyed my mud hut. Oh, boo-hoo. Deep roots. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? You're not a tree. Means nothing. Earn the right. How? They pay taxes. 79% of these people pay no taxes. No taxes. Oh, that's also the number who are sucking up welfare, right? Of illegals. And it's actually more. Yeah, but they've earned the right. Yeah, after coming in, leeching off our welfare system, taking jobs away from fucking Americans, not paying taxes effectively, sending $56 billion a year in remittances back to Mexico and whatever other fucking South American shitholes they fled from, and not because of war, but because they were shitholes. But we want to bring in people who create shitholes into our country to make it into a shithole. Yeah, great plan, Dianne Feinstein. But you don't care because you live in your little gated community behind your electrified fucking fence with your 20-foot high wall that if any of these illegals tried to fucking climb, they'd be electrocuted to death. You don't give a shit. Fucking cunt. Good Lord. Oh my God. TPS has become a quasi-amnesty for otherwise illegal aliens created under the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1990 that prevents the deportation of foreign nationals from countries that have suffered through famine, war, and natural disasters. That's all of them. It's called reality. What are you talking about? So essentially, people from countries who can't run a country, they're too dumb to establish a stable government. They're too dumb to essentially vote for champion programs that would create stability and the creation of enough food. They're too stupid to realize that peace is better than war. And they don't have the mechanisms in place to deal with natural disasters. So bring them on in, yeah, in massive numbers so that they eventually outbreed us, and then they become the dominant class. And of course, they won't be as dumb as they were in their own country because there's magic dirt. The magic dirt that we have in America, we have magic in our dirt. Their dirt has no magic, right? Their dirt is cursed. Right? Now that they're in America, the magic dirt will turn them brilliant. It'll up their IQ 10, 15, 20 points, and they'll be able to create American stability and prosperity the same way Whitey did, right? Yeah, because of magic dirt. It's environmental. It's not biological. Fucking clown world circus continues. Idiots. Since the Clinton administration, TPS has been transformed into a de facto amnesty program as the Bush, Obama, and now Trump administrations have continuously renewed the program for a variety of countries. He had no choice. They wouldn't give him any money for his little wall that he has hardly built anything of. Senate, House, none of them are willing to vote to overturn the Dreamers Act and kick these assholes out. Or any of this TPS bullshit. Every year, the U.S. admits more than 1.2 million mostly low-skilled legal immigrants. Yeah, we're taking in more than any other fucking country legally. We probably got the same amount crossing the border illegally. When will the tipping point come that Whitey, who built America, becomes a minority? And you know what's going to happen then? We're going to get killed. We're going to get slaughtered, okay? Let me tell you what's going to happen when white people become a minority in America. We're going to go the way of the fucking dodo people. Trust me on that. Because we'll be outnumbered, and they'll have to vote, because they will have been given amnesty. Yeah. About 70% of legal immigrants enter through the process known as chain migration. Yeah. Mahmoud gets in, works for 10 years, keeps his nose clean, and then he brings in 57 of his fucking closest relatives and friends. Oh, that's a bad idea. Where newly naturalized citizens can bring in unlimited number of foreign relatives to the country. You know, that's a democratic policy with them. Chain migration alone has brought about 10 million foreign nationals to the U.S. since 2005. 2005? Holy shit. That's just legal. 10 million? People are concerned about the illegal immigration, and they don't look at the legal immigration. If you combine the two, we're fucked in the ass. We can't be saved. Oh, my God. So, apparently, you and me and every other American out there is obligated to give these people a hand out and a hand up at the same fucking time. Yeah, because they're poor. They're oppressed. This plays into the old narrative that anybody who's doing worse than you, well, you have a Christian obligation to give them charity. By the way, these leftists give the least charity of anybody. Cunts. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Yeah. Yeah, you need to feel guilty. You're doing well. It's easier for a poor person to get into heaven than a rich man to pass through the eye of a needle or some shit. Rich or evil. Evil. Yeah, if the poor are great, let's bring in more of the poor, right? We owe the poor because we're doing well and they're doing bad. You know, life is a zero-sum game, and if I have more, that's because I took from somebody else. They have less because I have more, right? Because, you know, zero-sum game fallacy. Yeah, morons, yeah. The fallacy that wealth is essentially distributed and not created. You know, I'd love to see this bureau, this bureaucratic office of redistribution that is distributing wealth unfairly. Somebody show me where this redistribution is happening. All right, anyway, my blood pressure, yeah. I got to pour myself another cup of coffee. I've been spiking it with more water and cutting back on the coffee. All right. Yeah, I've been making my coffee too strong, so I need more of it. Kind of evens out in the end, I guess, but I don't get as much as quickly, so yeah. My head's not about to explode until the end of the show. I drank it all. All right, let's move on. I love this. Feminist mag calls on white women to fight supremacy by aborting all their white babies. It's interesting. White people are the only people who want supremacy, huh? Last time I looked at the SPLC's fucking chart of all the hate groups out there, supremacist groups, it was mostly blacks. The overwhelming number of groups were black supremacy. They're only like 12% of the population. That's interesting. But all you hear about is white supremacy. Meanwhile, how many KKK are out there? Less than 5,000? Yeah. But we're the enemy, right? We're the enemy. Actually, we're not the enemy, but the left doesn't want us to become an enemy. So they're making sure that we avoid collectivizing in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. By the way, white supremacy, isn't that where white people believe they should rule over every other race? I'm just a white nationalist myself. I believe that white people deserve their own nation, deserve their own countries, and to decide their own fates. I have no problem with white supremacy in my own country. If it's my country and we're the majority, of course we should be ruling it. It's ours, bitches. Does anybody complain about Japan? Japan supremacy is evil, but they're 99.9% of the population. Fuck that shit. They're racist scum. What about China? Same thing. They have less than 1 million. They have less than 1 million at any given time. Something like between 600,000 and 700,000 expats in China, but they have a population of 1.4 billion. Like 99.99% fucking Chinese. Ho! They need diversity. No, they're too smart for that. We don't want any of you foreigners in here. We want as few as fucking possible. Because they're not idiots like us. They don't have a fucking death wish. So a feminist magazine is calling on all white women to do their part to prevent white supremacy and abort their white babies. No race of people has done more for the world than white people. Every fucking significant invention that you look at was created by whitey. Mechanical clock, planes, trains, automobiles, clean water? Oh, but no. Modern agriculture that enables billions and billions of people to be fed. But whitey's evil. Yeah, okay. So the feminist magazine is called Medusa magazine. Medusa. Wasn't that the mythological creature that could turn men to stone, or anybody to stone if it looked at him? That's very apropos in a progressive society. Progressive? So what the left does is they say the exact opposite. of what they're actually doing. So it's actually in a regressive society. It's often white families that stand in the way of equality and justice. That's true, but not the way they're saying. You see, white people stand in the way of equality because, on average, black and brown people can't compete with them on a level playing field, which is why you have all this affirmative action bullshit. And giving blacks plus 260 points on SATs while deducting 260 from Asians and white people's scores. That kind of lack of equality that needs to be remedied by an artificial step up, or 2 steps or 3 for so-called minority groups. Yeah. So that's where the lack of equality comes in. And as for justice, what do you mean by justice? What they really mean is fairness. The world's not fair. Reality's not fair. Some people are born 7 feet tall with a lot of athletic ability, and they get to play fucking basketball professionally and make millions and millions of dollars. And some people are born 5'2" with a Napoleon complex thrown in. Yeah, it's not fair. It's called reality. Some people are born smart. Some people are born stupid. Some people are born with bad genes and they just blow up after they eat a little. Some people can eat tons and they don't get fat. Life's not fair. Systematic white supremacy depends first and foremost on the white family unit. You're right. White people still are the majority of stable families. Yeah. I mean, they're getting beat out by blacks, you know. Something like 77% of black kids grow up in single-family households, like 40% for whites or something. But it's growing. The number of single-family, single-parent households for whites is growing. It's increasing. Thanks to the efforts of the global elites and the feminists, they're useful idiots. Yes. The white family unit is the problem. Right, because strong, stable families produce strong, stable, independent-minded people who are more difficult to control and manipulate. They don't want that. When white conquerors forcefully penetrated the indigenous, egalitarian homeland of the native peoples of America. Egalitarian? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. There was feminism among the natives, don't you know? They had equality with their women. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's a total bunch of crap. Equality did not exist in Native America. Yeah, it makes them sound like they were these peaceful, wonderful, tree-hugging people. Nah, they were fighting and killing each other. Indians, even after we arrived in America, Indians killed more Indians, their so-called fellow natives, which weren't native, by the way, than any white person ever did, than whites ever did. And the majority of them that did die after we arrived died from disease, okay? And that bullshit about the infected blankets, that's a myth. Total bullshit, okay? Total bullshit. At least that it was done on purpose, all right? Might have been a few isolated cases of that happening, but no. White Americans did not participate in some kind of biological warfare against these natives peoples who are not native. They're not native. They just arrived before we did, 15 to 40,000 years before, over a land bridge made of ice, okay? During the last ice age. Or during a prior ice age. They're not native. They're not indigenous, okay, to America. They have as little claim as we do. We just beat their asses. Whatever happened to the right of the conqueror, huh? We conquered them. By the way, I don't see anybody complaining about the Zulus killing the Bantus in South Africa and all these black tribes who killed other black tribes and took their land. Well, that's okay, because they were all black. Yeah. All right. So, egalitarian homeland of the native peoples of America. They were quick to replicate their white societies. You replicate like we're parasites. Right? Replicate. Initiating their parasitism. I knew I called it. By establishing white plantations headed by white fathers, submissive white mothers, and most critically white children. Oh, yeah, white children are evil. With full dominion over the enslaved and oppressed people of color that were forced to uphold these micro-fiefdoms. Oh, give me a break. The vast majority of white people were serfs. Most of the Americans that came to the Americas, okay, were Christians fleeing persecution, okay? That's all they were. They were Christians fleeing persecution, all right? And they were plebs. They were serfs. They were not fucking, lords or some shit like that. The lords were having it good back in England and other European countries. They didn't want to come to the shithole that was America. Are you kidding? Have to endure 3-4 months or more on a fucking shitty-ass boat, eating dried meat and dried fucking figs and shit. That would have been luxury, actually. Come on. Nonsense. Micro-fiefdoms. Enslaved and oppressed people of color. In the entire history of America, 300,000 slaves were bought, okay? 300,000 slaves. Meanwhile, you got the Ottoman Empire and the fucking Muslims trading 100 million fucking Africans, killing 30 million of them. That's no big deal. So, 100 million slaves for the Muslims, 300,000 purchased by the Americans from the Muslims. We got the majority of our slaves from the Ottomans, okay, and from blacks themselves who would run around and capture their own people and sell them to us, okay? We weren't running around Africa hunting these people down. We were buying them off of fucking slave merchants who were black and Muslim, who, by the way, fucking enslaved millions and millions of whites. And if you look at the entire history of Muslims since the 7th century up until now, they have enslaved tens of millions of white people. How many Muslims did we enslave? Not so many. Oh, but we're the evil ones. In the history of the world, we own the least slaves. And we're the only ones that fought a war to end slavery, okay? Oh, but we're so bad. Meanwhile, Muslims are still trading in black people now. Go to Libya. You can buy one for $300 on the open-air slave markets that are there now. Idiots, morons, stupid fucking leftist scum. No idea of fucking facts. Just have your little fucking invented, cooked up, ginned up fucking ideology that thinks for you. It's no surprise then that America's fascination with the white family. America's still a majority white. What do you mean America's fascination? Yeah, you mean the family. What they're really talking about is the family. Oh, families are so bad. Oh, damn these white people for still being able to create the most stable two-parent household families, those motherfuckers. They have such equality. They're doing so much better than us. God damn them, because of their ability to create a strong, stable family and thereby create strong, stable people who will then become productive members of society. Oh no, that's got to go. We can't compete with that. Fascination with the white family unit. Yeah, because it's so evil to be fascinated by the family, right? If only black people were more fascinated by families, they might be doing a little fucking better. If they would do away with their fucking oppression narrative and their self-fulfilling prophecy of, Whitey's keeping me down, so I might as well not even try to do better. Yeah, if they do away with that stuff, they might actually do better. How about now? We're addicted to the free shit. So we have to continue to embrace this fucking narrative that we're somehow oppressed. So yeah, the fascination with the white family unit has gone hand in hand with the historical proliferation of white supremacy. Historical proliferation of white supremacy. You mean that because of our combination of intellect and creativity, we have essentially been dominant in the world and we were just better at waging war and creating weapons, that we were able to conquer more people? Right, because if the blacks over there in Africa had the same ability to produce and create wealth that we had, they wouldn't have fucking went around and colonized the world. Oh no. Yeah, the myth of the noble savage, right? They were killing and whacking each other in massive numbers, but if they'd had the ability to proliferate and spread out to other continents, other nations, they wouldn't have, right? Yeah, give me a fucking break. Essentially, what this article is complaining about is Whitey does too well. And we need to find ways to bring Whitey down and make him less able to compete with black and brown people. After Bacon's rebellion, white micro-fiefdoms thought it necessary to expand the definition of white family to encompass the entirety of white society. This is just critical theory. This whole article is just critical theory applied to race. I've talked about this before. If you want to understand the left, I suggest you take a look at the Frankfurt School. It is one of the key reasons why we have so much Marxism, communism in America today. In 1933, 1934, they traveled to America and set up shop at Columbia University in New York City. And they started the first school of social science. No such thing as social science, by the way. It's just communism. Taught on a mass scale, okay? The idea of the cultural Marxism of the oppressor dichotomy that was ginned up by fucking Marx to explain why he was such a loser and couldn't get anywhere in life. And they just spread these ideas across America, And one of those ideas was the idea of critical theory, which supposedly was created to criticize and find the flaws and weaknesses in capitalism, but it can be applied to anything. Now you have critical race theory, critical gender theory. Yeah. So this is just critical theory. God. Whites are embedded from birth with the sense of common white identity. That's not true. In fact, white people are discouraged when it comes to having some kind of racial identity. We have what are you talking about? Black people have a much stronger sense of racial identity than whites. Whites, nah. That's the problem, really. We don't have a strong sense of racial identity. And this, I say, this is the exact opposite. This is what critical theory does. It states the exact opposite, okay, in terms of couching a problem. This is something that's a problem. And really, that problem that they're saying is the case, it's not the case. The exact opposite is actually the case, and the exact opposite is what they want to achieve by presenting you with the exact opposite as the truth. No, white people have a sense of identity, racial identity. That's not the truth. They have very little sense of racial identity, but the left wants to continue to attack and break that down to the point where whites are completely isolated from one another, and that way they're easier to conquer. And this identity conditions them to replicate the white family unit. No, it's called intelligence. It's called intelligence, okay? And some small pockets of Christianity left in America. I'm not a Christian, I'm an atheist, I'm not a religious person, but I can see some of the positive benefits of Christianity when it comes to fighting back against this kind of leftist, Marxist, communist bullshit, which is part of the reason why the left hates religion so much. It's competition for them, thus furthering the cycle of white supremacy in America. But America was started and founded by white people. Why would they not be supreme? This is the problem with bringing in all these low IQ morons from other countries. They want to take over once they hit a certain number of the population. That is why the entire white unit must be destroyed. Kind of hyperbolic and threatening and aggressive. Is anybody concerned out there? Nah, I'm too busy eating Cheetos and watching Wheel of Fortune, if that show is still on. Yeah, because the left banks on your apathy, Whitey, okay? You need to wake up, white people. You're under assault. You will be slaughtered en masse when you are a minority. Trust me. White women, it's time to do your part. Yeah, have less white kids. Now, we leftists will do our part through our useful idiots and through feminists as well. All right, we'll try to socially condition white males to accept this anti-male, anti-white agenda, and we'll try to, through soy and BPA and social conditioning and propaganda, to feminize them in as much as possible. Meanwhile, we'll condition white women to have less kids, which has something to do with the fact that America has been below replacement levels since the 1970s. Funnily enough, that's when radical feminism started to take off. They correlate exactly. Imagine that. Meanwhile, they have no problem with blackie and brown people proliferating like fucking rabbits. Of course not. They want to displace us and replace us with people who are far more easy to control. Yeah, your white children reinforce the white supremacist society that benefits you. Okay, so why would they... I'm confused here. I don't see the problem. Doesn't Japanese society benefit Japanese? Why would black... I'm confused. So there's a problem with the dominant majority of the population wanting things to be structured in a way that they benefit the most, which, by the way, isn't even true in America. Again, white people don't have affirmative action. What are you talking about? What benefits are we talking about here? White people can't get welfare that easily. You know, they're encouraged to work and slave and be the tax chattel. Meanwhile, you got black and brown people who have been on welfare for generations. You got grandmas and mas and kids all living in the same house. None of them ever worked a real job, all getting welfare cheddar. What? I'm confused. Where is this white supremacist society that they're talking about? And what would be wrong with that if there was? And what do they mean by white supremacists? Do they mean that white people are getting more benefits than other races, or do they just mean that the white people are in charge, which would make perfect sense if they're the majority, because they'd be the ones voting, and the majority of voters, if they vote along racial lines, would elect people who were like them, who are the majority, which isn't even the case. which is part of the problem. White people don't act in their own best interest. This is a lie. This is not true. This is critical theory stating the exact opposite to fearmonger and scare people, all right? If you claim to be progressive and yet willingly birth white children by your own choice, you're a hypocrite. White women should be encouraged to abort their... here we go. Abort their white children and use their freed up time and resources to assist women of color. Yeah, be an ally who have no other choice but to raise their children. Wait, what? This is so great. So they talk about white women being hypocrites, and they, whoever wrote this, essentially reveals themselves to be a hypocrite. White women should be encouraged to not have children, but women of color. You mean colored women? We are the real racists, but how can we create racialized racial terms to identify groups of people that don't sound racist? Huh? Well, let's just move the words around. Let's take colored people and we'll put the people before the color. People of color. Ooh, that sounds good. Yeah. So essentially what the writer of this is saying is, white women, you shouldn't have kids, but you should help and assist people of color to have kids. You're a hypocrite. That's contradictory, by the way. Absurd. All right, so this is just part of the multi-pronged attack on white people. Feminism is one of those ways. It makes relationships between men and women untenable when women embrace it. And this is yet another way, telling feminists to essentially not have children, demonizing and vilifying the idea of whiteness itself. This is why whenever somebody wears a shirt that says it's okay to be white, the media flips out, because it's really not okay to be white. No, it's not okay to be white. They want you to die. They want you to die. And when they talk about black and brown people not being able to have equality if there's still whitey around, yeah, because they can't compete with you. They can't compete with you. Oh my God, if you're playing a game and 67% of the players are so good that they beat you 100% of the time, it's not fair. They're too good. They're too good at the game. We can't beat them. What do? You lobby to get rid of them because it's not fair. It's not fair. Yeah. I'm sure that's how you see it. Yeah. When the left uses the word justice, they really mean fairness. And when they use the word equality, what they really mean is the other people can't compete. And they mean it the same way when they talk about equality between men and women. Women can't compete with men. That's what they really mean. So we have to dumb down. We have to reduce men to the lowest common denominator so that the majority of women can compete with them. And even that doesn't work. So you have to introduce this affirmative action and force employers to hire women. And even that doesn't work. So you have to socially engineer men to be more docile, more feminine, more agreeable, weaker. But even that doesn't work. So you have to essentially indoctrinate men to pander to and kowtow and be allies to women. Yeah. All these moves are designed to minimize men and strengthen women so that they can compete with men and eventually replace men. And they are. I don't know if any of you out there realize, but women are the majority of the workforce. They're 54% of the workforce. More women are working than men. That's right. Excuse me, allergies. So somebody tell me again how feminism is about equality, how it's about equality when women make up more of the workforce than men. Shouldn't it be 50-50? Yeah. And I love how this article essentially utilizes critical race theory. Yeah. Look up critical theory. Look up the Frankfurt School. Look up the tools the critical theory uses to attack and essentially criticize capitalism, and those same tools are being used here. All right, let's move on, shall we? Oh, this is great. This is great. This is yet another example of feminism gone wild. Teacher, female, mocks autistic student. Of course she does. With most annoying award. It's a boy, of course. You know, if she had done this with a girl, well, she wouldn't have done this with a girl. There'd be an outcry. So, Gary father, Gary is the town, I guess, is expressing disbelief this week after his fifth grader son, who is autistic, was given a trophy dubbing him the most annoying male for the school year. What? When I was a fifth grader, a million years ago it seems, teacher would have been fired. Your job would be gone. Rick Castajon said the award was given to his 11-year-old son at a fifth grade awards luncheon by Bailey Preparatory Academy students last month by a special education teacher in front of the students' parents and the school's principal, Carlito Royal. Really? Oh my God, how humiliating. And by the way, how could the fucking principal not fire that person on the spot? That is unbelievable. It's a preparatory school. It's a private school. I would expect teachers at a private school to be more professional, better at their jobs, to not do something like this. Oh, God. We really need higher standards for our teachers. I have me a master's degree in education. Ooh. That just means you're a good Marxist. That just means you're a good Marxist, pinhead. We really need to demand more of these people. There need to be entrance exams, okay? I don't care if you have a degree. There should be an 8, 10, 12-hour test, multiple parts. You have to take that test and pass with flying fucking colors in the subject that you want to teach to become a teacher. That would weed out like 95% of the chaff. I guarantee you. We were blindsided. We just weren't expecting it, Castajon said. The parent, the father. As a principal or a teacher, you should never let this happen to any student. That's insane. Now, I know they're giving out fucking awards for attendance or just having a pulse. You're a student that's not dead. Here's an award. But this shit, usually they give awards in some kind of positive way just to make you feel better about yourself, even if you did nothing, which really isn't a good thing. But this is a pejorative award. This is essentially an award for something negative. I'm going to award you. Here's an award for being the dumbest student. That might actually be better than this award. Fuck me, because this kid has no control over this. I actually might champion something like that. Stupidity awards. Might encourage the kids to do better. Although you hear all this stuff about how negative reinforcement does not help. I don't think that's an absolute, okay? I think there might be some instances where negative reinforcement is a good thing. I don't know, like, say, the military. Get up, maggot! You big, fat, disgusting maggot, you! Your mama must be ashamed to have had you. Get your fat ass up and do a fucking pull-up, you pathetic Nancy. There's times when negative reinforcement comes in handy. But this isn't one of them. Gary Community School Corporation Emergency Manager, oh boy. Too many names in that title. He's a progressive. Peter Morakis confirmed the incident in a statement Monday. He's a politician, bureaucrat, saying he met immediately with the family upon learning of the incident and that disciplinary action was taken against the personnel involved. What does that mean? So that's very muddied, obscure, shaded language that doesn't say anything specific. They won't be fired. The Gary Community Corporation does not condone this type of behavior and will continue to put the safety and well-being of our students first. Apparently not. You didn't fire the teacher. You gave me all this convoluted gobbledygook language in regards to what you're going to do to the teacher, as opposed to if you'd actually fired them, you would have said, we fired them. No, you give me all this nonsense, which means you're not going to fire them, so you really don't care that much about the safety and well-being of these students. We extend our deepest apologies to the impacted student. Sounds like a stock reply. The family and anyone else who take offense to this unfortunate occurrence. Oh, boy. Yeah. He's had that sitting in his desk drawer for a while. Here's a stock reply. If anything bad happens, read this on air. Okay. A part of a regular year-end award ceremony, parents fell silent as the trophy was presented to the 11-year-old student at a May 23rd school awards luncheon at the Merrillville Golden Corral. Castajon said, why aren't we hearing the name of the teacher? So the perpetrator, the evildoer in this case, nobody says their name. But the victim, we all know who he is. Yeah, so he can be made fun of and bullied by other students and be a laughingstock online. That's great. Oh, we don't want to reveal the name of the evil, nasty cunt feminist who did this. I ought to have her ass booted out of the school. Oh, no. But we'll reveal the name of the victim. Yeah, that's great policy. It was inscribed, Bailey Preparatory Academy, 2018 to 2019, most annoying male. Not even most annoying student, most annoying male. Did she have an award for the most annoying female? No! That ought to tell you right there. That ought to tell you right there. I have a blind spot for the females. I'm biased toward them. I love women's. I hate men. So I only have a most annoying award for men. Because I find men annoying. Not wanting to create a scene, the father said he tried to leave the award on a table at the Golden Corral at the end of the lunch, but was approached by his son's teacher, reminding him not to forget the trophy. He said the teacher acted as if she were trying to play the incident off like a funny joke. Oh, really? Oh, really? I don't find it funny. I mean, I can find the humor in it and make fun of the situation, but I don't find that amusing. Let's take a look at this award. Let's see what it looks like. It's a big giant star. Oh, my God. You understand that this is not a commonplace award and that the teacher in question... See, how trophies work with this type of thing, this was a yearly event, and they will have contracted with a trophy maker. Trophy makers, by the way, make big money. If you want to get into a business, get into trophy making and then get a contract with a school district. You'll make big money. But, yeah, they will have contracted a specific trophy maker, and each year or whatever, at specific times, they would have the same award being made again and again and again. She would have actually had to call this trophy maker and make a special request and paid extra money for that trophy. She may have even taken it out of her own pocket. So she had to actually, look at the fingernails. Feminist. How does a teacher get away with that? She got purple, I see pink, I see red, I see green. Feminist, right? I'm a teacher and a professional teacher, and the dress code and all doesn't allow me to have purple hair that's man short like I would like. So, I have to express my feminism through my fingernails. Yeah, you can see she's a feminist. Of course, this award says it all, right? Most annoying male. Oh, my God. So this level of misandry is shocking. You should be shocked by this. Yeah, they're no longer trying to hide it, people. No longer trying to hide it. They feel that they've indoctrinated you enough and essentially gotten you to a point of apathy by exposing you to so much of this. You're just desensitized to it that now they're not even making any efforts to hide their man hate. So Mauricus declined to comment Monday on the employment status of any school personnel involved in the matter. That's because they weren't fired. If he had fired the teacher in question, he would have been quick to point this out, okay? And by the way, I think we all know that if this had been a male teacher and he had given this award to a female student who was suffering from a behavioral or a learning disorder, that he would have been fired immediately, and that this bureaucrat would have been quick to virtue signal about how he fired that evil, horrible, oppressive male teacher. But a woman does it. We can't fire a woman. Can't do that. No. Nor would he identify the teacher involved. Ooh, the Times will be filing a Freedom of Information Act request for the teacher's employment status Tuesday. You way to go. An apology was extended on behalf of the district to the family, and disciplinary action, was taken against personnel involved. Mauricus said in a statement. Like what? Of course, you know that the disciplinary action in question was wholly inadequate, and he knew that people would find it wholly inadequate, which is why he's not getting specific. We acknowledge the potential impact that an experience like this could have on a child's mental well-being, self-esteem, and overall lack of comfortability in the learning environment going forward. I would sue your ass. I would sue your ass for emotional distress to my child. That's what I would fucking do. And I would demand you fired this teacher post-haste. Of course, the father's probably a white knight pussy, which is what the establishment counts on. That's what they want. They want to make all the men white knight pussy, relativistic, postmodernistic idealistic pinheads who can't identify right from wrong, good from bad, who have no good moral foundation, have no idea or understanding of objective morality. So when something like this happens, I guess it wasn't that bad. It depends on your point of view. Perception is reality. I can't really make myself get angry enough about it, and I don't want this woman to lose her job. I guarantee you that's what's going on with this father. Oh, man. Men have been neutered to such a point where they will not stand up for themselves. Oh, God, it's so disheartening. Castigan said it wasn't until he went home after the awards ceremony and shared what happened with his wife later that night that the reality of what had happened set in with him. See, I mean, a delayed reaction because of all the indoctrination he's had, and he had to get anger from his wife. She had to be angry before he would allow himself to be angry. I had to have a Wayman wake me up, and I only felt anger by proxy. It was her anger extended to me, and then I was like a proxy tool of her. Wife's probably a narcissistic feminist as well, and he's nothing more than a satellite and a proxy for her emotions. When my wife got angry, then I gave myself permission to get angry, because I don't really have any sense of self or my own identity. I have to identify through my relationship with my Wayman, and if she gets angry, I'll get angry because I'm a tool of hers and an extension of her will and psyche, but I'm not able to do it myself by myself as an individual. Pathetic. He said throughout the school year, his son's teacher routinely called home with concerns about how to handle the fifth grader's behavior. But it wasn't until his son was presented the Most Annoying Male Award that Castigan said he felt real concern. Now Castigan is left wondering if these calls home were contributing factors in the trophy his son was presented with last month. See, he's already looking for excuses to try and let the teacher off the hook. My son contributed in some way. He was just acting out so much in class. That might have been a contributing factor to the teacher being so nasty. No, there's no excuse. Stop making excuses for women. Stop making excuses for women, gentlemen. Castigan describes some of his son's mannerisms as a student with autism. The 11-year-old is nonverbal, occasionally rocks back and forth, and becomes easily emotional. Who gives a fuck? That's her job, and I guarantee you she's making more money as a private school teacher than she is in the public sector with her fucking multicolored fucking fingernails. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. That's her job. That's like saying, well, you know, that police officer, yeah, he blew that innocent guy's head off, and it was clearly a case of wrongdoing and wrongful shooting, but he's under a lot of stress because, you know, those darn criminals out there are making his life hard. Oh, what? What are you talking about? That's his job. That's what he signed up for. Stop making excuses for these people because they have pussies. They called me all the time if he didn't want to work and would cry or would even have a breakdown. Yeah, well, they knew what he was when they decided to take him in, and they took your money anyway, so they have a job to treat him fairly and decently. And she's teaching special needs kids. Shouldn't she have some training? I don't understand. A special needs education teacher should know how to handle these things precisely. So why are you making excuses for this broad? It's like making excuses for the cop who blew somebody's fucking head off and saying, well, the criminals drove him to it. What? After the May Awards lunch, Castigan said his family contacted the school. He said his family met with Marcus to discuss his concerns and was assured the district would take action. You need to go to newspapers. You need to file a lawsuit. You need to do everything you can to get this teacher fired. Pussy. At a May 25th, fifth grade graduation celebration, Castigan said his son's teacher was noticeably absent. And they just gave her a couple weeks suspension until it all blows over. They can't fire a Wayman. She's an ideological ally. She's a leftist. She's a feminist. They just can't bring themselves to get rid of one of their own unless there's a lot of pressure. You need to put pressure on them. All right. Castigan said prior to the incident, his family already had plans to move to Valparaiso and does not intend to send his son to Gary next year. It's irrelevant. So, yeah, be a good man. Be a good little fucking puppet man and have your strings pulled and run. Run, you pussy, instead of pushing the issue. Well, I'm moving schools anyway, so, I won't push the issue. Bitch, I would get this cunt fired. I don't care if you're not going back. I would do everything in my power. I would be on the fucking phone from sun up to sundown whenever I had a free fucking moment, and I would make sure this bitch was fired. I would bring the wrath of God down on this cunt. And that's what you men out there need to do. Don't pander to, don't cater to Wayman. Bring the wrath of fucking God down on them. Then they'll learn not to be useful idiots. We just don't want any of our kids to go through this. Yeah, do you want other people's kids to go through this? If not, raise a fucking stink. Just because they have special needs doesn't mean they don't have feelings. Yeah, but, he's a boy, so he's less important in the view of the left. All right, this shit really pisses me off. But this is what they do. Hire feminist teachers. Something like 87% of teachers are female. Majority of them are Marxists, feminists, because if they're a feminist, they're a Marxist, okay? Marxism is just feminism by another name, all right? Cultural Marxism, oppressor. They're taught to hate men. They extend that hate to how they educate the boys. They teach the boys to hate themselves. They teach the boys about toxic masculinity. They teach them about how being a male is evil and wrong. And they indoctrinate them into the same kind of man-hate that feminists have, except with a man, it's internalized. It's self-hate, which is why you have all these weird people running around doing horrible things to themselves, like this weird movement of guys called Nullos, N-L-L-O, N-U-L-L-O, where they're cutting off their own dicks. I mean, they have so pejoratized masculinity that even men don't want to be men, especially white men. So, of course, they bow down and they capitulate to the Waymen, and Waymen gain ever more power in society, which is what the left wants. More useful idiots in positions of authority and power to push their leftist narrative and agenda. Oh, boy. All right, I'm going to read one more story, and then I'll be done. And this story is a little old, but I want to talk about it because in the next show I'm going to talk about, the recent effects of this story from a few years back. So Medicine Hat, Alberta becomes first Canadian city to end homelessness. And by the way, Canada has a rise in homelessness. In fact, it has a greater rise in homelessness, I think, than any other Western country. I wonder why. Justin Trudeau. Yeah, it couldn't be because there's a pinhead leftist running the country who virtue signals about how 50% of his cabinet is Wayman, right? It couldn't be that. Happy homeless! Yeah, because you should be happy to be homeless. Well, it turns out in Alberta, Canada, you really should be happy to be homeless. Because they'll give you lots of free shit. Who doesn't like free shit, right? It's great. When there are more foreclosed homes than individuals living on the street, you know there's something wrong with the system. Right, this is the old communist view. They're socialist, right? Look at that. All these empty homes shitting fallow. We, the state, should just be able to confiscate all these houses and give them to homeless. So what about property rights? Nah. By the way, why do you think all these homes are foreclosed on to begin with? That's another video entirely. It's all part of the same problem, though. Yeah. Cities like Dallas, Texas, and Honolulu, Hawaii have implemented creative concepts to help remedy the homeless crisis in these states. But until recently, no major Canadian city had successfully alleviated its homelessness issue. This is treating the symptom, okay? So if you give people homeless people, housing, and then they're not homeless anymore, you're not solving the problem. It's just a Band-Aid, okay? On a wound that won't heal. It's just going to continue to rot and fester until you treat the source of the problem. But that has changed in the city of Medicine Hat, Alberta, where all 60,000 residents now sleep soundly in a safe environment with a roof. Thanks to a new policy in the Canadian city, housing is mandated for everyone who has spent 10 days in a shelter or on the streets. Wow, well, why don't you just move to fucking Alberta, Medicine Hat, Alberta, set up a pup tent for 10 days, or go sleep in one of their shelters, and then you get a free house. Wow, that's great. I can't think of a better way to incentivize homelessness that the state then has to pay for than this. Now, when officials of the city learn of an individual living in these circumstances, they move him or her or the whole family, wow, I bet that's really expensive, into a house or apartment. Mayor of the town, Ted Clugston, says 10 days is the absolute limit an individual may live on the streets, even though the city is normally quick to find housing for homeless individuals. How does this work? I mean, it's a small town, but how are they housing these people? Where are they getting the apartments? I mean, wouldn't they have to spend government funds to buy properties to house these people? Doesn't that cost a shit ton of money? You can't just confiscate people's houses, can you? Your house is sitting fallow. We're the state. We confiscate your house. Here's $10. Go buy a bowl of soup until you go homeless because we took your fucking property. Oh, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, and then we'll give you your house back to live in. Yeah, but you won't own it anymore. Great, wow. Medicine Hat's Housing First plan ensures every individual is off the streets before tackling the underlying causes of homelessness. What? Isn't that kind of putting the fucking cart before the horse? So we're going to treat the symptom before we treat the problem. Oh, but that won't cause a proliferation of symptoms. No. Are they out of their minds? What is this bullshit? This is so stupid. This is so fucking dumb. Housing First puts everything on its head. It used to be you want a home, get off drugs, deal with your mental health issues. If you're addicted to drugs, it's okay. So, yeah. What's my incentive to get off drugs if you just give me a house? I mean, what if I had a house before this? I mean, most of these people had houses before and they lost the house. They were working, their drug problem got too bad, so they lost their job, and they preferred using the drugs to having a job that produced wealth. So they went and lived in a box behind Costco. Okay, that's their choice. And choices have consequences. No, only positive choices. We're going to create a world where only positive choices have outcomes. Consequences. Negative choices will no longer have consequences. But of course, no, that won't cause a proliferation of consequences. Bad consequences? No. Really? Interesting. Yeah. But if you're addicted to drugs, it's going to be pretty hard to get off them if you're sleeping under a park bench. How is that my problem? But isn't that a consequence? Wouldn't that motivate me to get off the drugs? How's it going to motivate me if you give me a free house? And you continue to give me housing whether or not I'm on drugs or not? Well, you're still using heroin after 2 years of us giving you a free house and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on you in the form of fucking electricity and cable. You know they're giving these people cable and a fucking computer to use, internet access, and a phone, and electricity, and rent, because, this house could have been rented to somebody, but we confiscated it from its owner or bought it from the owner, and then we used taxpayer dollars to maintain the house instead of it being used by a productive member of society to pay a landlord rent. Oh, no. We don't want to create wealth. We want to steal money from the people who create wealth to give you free shit, and you're not producing anything. And you're somehow going to be incentivized to get off drugs? I don't think so. This might be the best insurance against... Oh, okay, so this is great. In 2009, the city began building new homes. Oh, my God. So they... Oh, this is great. Let's use taxpayer dollars to build houses for homeless, even though we've got all these foreclosed houses out here that we could have bought from... Oh, my God. Wait. Let me see if I can understand this. This is retard logic on steroids and meth and coke. This is a retard with retard logic shooting up with a fucking 8-ball and snorting cocaine at the same time. Who hasn't slept in 2 weeks? Totally incapable of any logic. What is this? So the article starts off about there being more homeless people. I mean, there's more confiscated houses. There's more foreclosed housing in the town than there are homeless people. But their solution isn't to then go to the bank and pay to buy these foreclosed houses at a reduced rate. But instead, let's just build a bunch of new houses. It'll cost 10 times more to do. Whoa, baby. Wow, the stupidity is stupendous. Oh, my God. Stupendous stupidity. I don't understand. If for anybody out there who knows how foreclosure works, essentially somebody can't make the mortgage payment, so the bank takes their house, and then that house is on the market. Essentially, you go to the bank, you ask for a listing of all their foreclosed housing and how much they want, and most of the time, they just want what's left on the mortgage. Oftentimes, they don't even want that. It depends on how long the house is sitting fallow without anybody living in it. If they're desperate, they'll sell it to you for a fraction of what is owed. You can sometimes get a house for a few thousand, 10, 20,000 bucks that's worth $100,000, $200,000. Sometimes you can get it for 1/10, 1/20th of what it's worth. But instead of buying up all these foreclosed houses and then using them to house the homeless, they're building houses from scratch using taxpayer dollars? What? It's so stupid. Oh my God. Yeah, instead of wasting a little money, we'll waste a whole lot more. Yeah. But they don't want to bankrupt Canada. Oh, no. Yeah, it comes down to economics? Oh, no. Well, you don't understand economics then. In 2019, the city began building new homes for the homeless and has since moved nearly 900 people off the streets. Really, it all comes down to economics. You don't know economics. You're the AOC of Canada, whoever's running this bullshit. You're all a bunch of AOCs. You don't know anything about economics. An individual living on the streets cost the city about $100,000 compared to about why are they on the street? And why do they cost about $100,000 a year? You know why? Because you've passed all these laws, created all these policies to give them all this welfare cheddar. We're going to create policies. This is great. We're going to spend years, decades, gradually increasing the amount of welfare benefits available to homeless, and we're going to build all these homeless shelters and hire all these people and create all this bureaucracy and infrastructure that'll eventually end up costing $100,000 a year per homeless person to thereby justify us giving free houses to people because that's actually cheaper. So the reason it costs so much for these homeless people is you. And you're the reason for needing to build these houses that cost less than all these fucking services you're giving as an alternative to a free house. It's like, God. Oh, yeah, we've given all these incentives to the homeless. We've created so much infrastructure around housing and helping the homeless that it costs $100,000 per homeless person. But now, if we give them a free house, it's only $20,000. But you set up all of this. You created $100,000, you created $20,000. It's all your creation. Since adopting housing first, police calls about homeless people and emergency room visits have decreased dramatically. So you create the problem, and then you create what you think is a solution to the problem, but it's actually making things much worse. How much did it cost to build these houses? Oh, fuck me. When a city opts to care for its troubled citizens that you created, a bold statement is made about the people of the town and the leaders who manage it. They're all a bunch of morons, a bunch of liberal pinhead bleeding heart morons who don't understand economics. Or incentivization. If you incentivize bad behavior, you'll get more of it, right? No! Really? This is the cheapest and most humane way to treat people. No, it's not. No, it's not. Whatever happened to tough love? Oh, that's not a thing. Tough love is evil. This is hilarious. A laugh fucking riot. I love this shit. Yeah. Oh, my God. I need another cup of coffee. Oh, my cheapest. It's certainly not the cheapest, that's for sure. How about you get rid of all programs for homeless? How about you get rid of all welfare programs for homeless people? No homeless shelters, no soup kitchens funded by the state, no aid of any kind. You know what's going to happen to the homeless population? Poof. It'll magically vanish. You want magic? That's magic. It'll happen so quick, you'll think it's a magic trick. Where'd the fucking rabbit go? I didn't see him fucking switch the rabbit. How'd they do that? How'd they do that? Yeah. Where'd all the homeless people go? They just up and vanish. Yeah. They weren't able to be homeless anymore. I don't think people realize that there are people out there who are so lazy, who care so little about the environment they live in so long as they can get their fix, be it booze or drugs, who are just such bums, who are just such shiftless bums that they don't mind sleeping in a tent or in a shelter so long as they have their essentials provided for. A lot of you out there don't realize this because you're lacking empathy. You can't put yourself in someone else's shoes. You just can't imagine. You just can't imagine that anyone would want to live like that. Nobody would want to live like that. It must be because they have no choice, so we should help them. No, they chose to live there. They really did. Somebody sleeping in a box? Generally speaking, they made that choice. Now, okay, some of these people are mentally ill, all right? Some of these people are mentally ill, but the majority of them are not. Druggies, alkies, lazy, shiftless fucking hippies who play the guitar badly and sit there strumming their guitar on a fucking street corner and leaving the fucking guitar case open and asking you to throw money in. And of course, like the sucker you are, you toss in some fucking money and thereby incentivize them continuing to live their fucking shiftless bum loser lifestyle. That's what you're doing. If you didn't incentivize this behavior, it wouldn't exist in large part. Yeah, you'd still have some homeless people, but not too many, because they wouldn't be able to survive as homeless. It's a choice, and some people would prefer to live as shiftless loser bums on the street than having to go and work for demand, okay? That's the reality. And now you're giving them houses? And now, by the way, in the news, I recently saw a story talking about how Canada, their homelessness rate has skyrocketed more than any other fucking country in the West. Oh, imagine that! I'm going to talk about that during my next show. But it's fucking, this is why. This is why. They have something like 1 million homeless people in a country with 33 million people. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like 3% of the population are homeless. What? That's a lot, by the way. This is why. These generous fucking welfare programs, behavior is incentivized. That's it. Doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative or you think that it's a horrible existence. Lots and lots of people would prefer to live this way. There's lots of people out there who don't see the meaning in life. They're nihilists. Life has no meaning. I live in a pop tent. I live in a cave. I live in a shelter. Whatever. I'm just continuing to bide my time until I die. People who lack ambition. People who really don't have much in the way of self-confidence, self-esteem. They don't really want to be much of anything. I'll live in a tent. I'll sleep in a box. Whatever. As long as I get to live my life my way. Yeah. And now they're going to give you a house. But they're not going to just buy it from the bank, a foreclosed house. Oh, no, they're going to build a house from scratch and waste even more taxpayer dollars. Oh, this makes me laugh. I actually have an understanding of how economics work. So, yeah, this shit's hilarious to me. All right, I'm going to end the show on that note. Again, I suggest you follow me on BitChute. I speak far too much truth. So, who knows what might happen to my YouTube channel in the future. So, go to the description. Just scroll down, hit description, expand, open it up, and below the top listings, that's for my donations, which is just therealistphilosopher.com/donate. You'll find BitChute link. Go there. Follow me on BitChute. BitChute's great, by the way. I don't know why more people aren't on BitChute. Blockchain technology. Zero censorship. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You can do almost whatever you want. Unlike YouTube, though, you can't lop off people's heads and have videos stay up for a month, okay? Only YouTube can do that. I sentence you to death by Sharia law. Off with your head. Video stays up for a month on YouTube. Really? We have no tolerance for violence or hate speech, but this is fine. Because it's Muslims doing it, right? BitChute's great. Go follow me there, please. It's a great platform, freedom of speech. I'm going to start uploading all my content from YouTube and this specific channel there once I've uploaded all of it to YouTube. One thing at a time, okay? So follow me there. Follow me on DLive. DLive is a streaming platform. I stream all my stuff to DLive. If you're watching me now on DLive and you're wondering why I'm not replying to your comments, I can't. I can't open too many other windows up. Otherwise, I'll start dropping frames, using too much of my bitrate for that. So if you make a donation on DLive, and that's another good thing about DLive, you can make donations directly. They have their own crypto coin. And so you buy a little bit of that and you can make donations to whoever you want. You can buy it using PayPal. So go follow me on DLive. Sign up for DLive. It's a great platform. Again, if you want things to change, you're going to have to do something to change them, all right? You're going to need to stop using platforms like YouTube and start using alternative platforms so that YouTube doesn't have control over the public square and the information that's out there and thereby able to censor people, okay? So this is your way of being able to continue to follow me and know where I am. So DLive, BitChute, also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. You'll find those links in the description as well. And if you'd like to donate to help me continue to make content and continue to spread the red pill that is reality, the ability to see and understand reality, then please consider donating. Go to my website, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. You have multiple donation options. Yes, I'm on Patreon. If you hate Patreon, I'm on Subscribestar. You can sign up for one of the tiers or just make a straight out one-time donation. And I have a TippyStream account. And you can donate to that using, yes, PayPal. All those links are there. Just one click. That's all it takes. If you want things to change, people, you have to do something to change them. And sometimes it costs money. Sometimes it costs resources, all right? Which is what money represents, okay? You either do something yourself or you help people like me who are doing the heavy lifting to continue to do the heavy lifting. And that's doing something as well. Or something as simple as retweeting my content, okay? But the best thing you can do is make a donation. And if you can afford to do so, you probably should. If you can't afford to do so, fine. There's other things you can do to contribute. Retweet, repost these links on social media, mention this channel on other channels on YouTube. There's lots of things you can do if you can't afford to make a monetary donation, just so long as you do something, all right? So that's it. I guess I will see you again tomorrow. Not the same time. The show started very late today. I apologize for that. It can't always be from 10 to 11 a.m. New York City time. I do my best to start at that time, but it's not always going to happen. All right. Hope you enjoyed. I wish everybody a good day. I'm the Realist Philosopher signing out. Take care.